The Girl Who Tamed a Thunderstorm. Once upon a time, in a quiet little town nestled between rolling hills and whispering woods, lived a girl named Lila. Lila was not like other children in her town. While most children feared the booming roar of thunder and the crackling flash of lightning, Lila felt a strange connection to the wildness of the storm. She would sit by her window when the rain hammered against the glass, her wide brown eyes reflecting the chase of clouds and the electric dance above. Her parents often worried about her fascination. "Come away from the window, Lila," her mother would say, as thunder shook the house. But Lila stayed, listening, as if the storm were telling her secrets in a language only she could understand. One summer evening, the sky turned a deep, bruised purple. The air grew thick and still, and the birds fell silent. The townsfolk hurried indoors, latching windows and bolting doors, dreading the tempest they knew was coming. But Lila felt excitement flutter in her chest. She tiptoed outside, her bare feet cool on the wet grass, and looked up as the first drop of rain kissed her nose. Suddenly the clouds roared open, and a thunderstorm crashed down upon the town. Lightning zigzagged across the sky, and the wind howled like a pack of wolves. Lila stood in the heart of it, her arms wide, her laughter rising above the storm's fury. And then, something extraordinary happened. The storm seemed to notice her. A bolt of lightning struck the ground not far from where she stood, and in its wake appeared a figure, tall and shimmering, with hair made of swirling clouds and eyes that glowed like storm lanterns. It was the spirit of the thunderstorm, and he looked upon Lila with curiosity. "Why do you not fear me, little one?" The spirit boomed, his voice rolling like thunder across the fields. Lila looked up, her heart pounding with wonder, not fear. "Because you are beautiful and powerful. I think you're lonely, and I want to understand you." The spirit tilted his head, the wind twirling around him. "No one has ever wished to understand me before. They all hide from my voice and my rain." Lila stepped closer, her feet sinking into the muddy earth. "Maybe they just don't know how to listen. Will you teach me?" For a moment the spirit considered. Then, with a gesture, he summoned a cloud beneath Lila's feet and lifted her into the sky. Up, up they soared, higher than the tallest trees, higher even than the soaring hawks. The town below shrank into a patchwork of rooftops and roads, and the clouds became Lila's playground. The spirit showed her how to read the sky, the way the clouds gathered and swirled before a storm, the smell of rain on the wind, the secret signs in the flicker of lightning. He taught her to listen for the stories carried by thunder and to dance with the wind as it sang through the treetops. Together, they tamed the wildness of the storm, turning its fury into music and its rage into laughter. Lila learned to shape the clouds into any form she wished: a galloping horse, a floating castle, a flock of giant birds. She learned to ask the storm to wait, to move, to dance, and the storm, in turn, listened to her gentle voice. But soon, Lila realized that the people of her town were still afraid. The crops suffered from too much rain, the rivers swelled, and the thunder kept the children awake at night. Lila knew she had to help them too. "Spirit," she said one day, as they floated above the trembling town, "can we share your gifts with my people? Can we teach them not to fear you, but to befriend you?" The spirit hesitated, unused to being welcome. But Lila's kindness warmed even the coldest winds. So together they drifted down and called a meeting in the town square. At first, the townsfolk huddled together, wary and afraid. But when they saw Lila holding the spirit's hand, their fear began to melt. Lila spoke to them, her voice clear and bright. "The thunderstorm is not our enemy. He brings the rain that feeds our crops, the wind that cleans our air, and the lightning that lights our skies. If we listen and understand, we can work together." She showed them how to read the clouds, how to prepare for rain, and how to appreciate the beauty of the storm's symphony. The spirit, too, learned to gentle his lightning, to whisper instead of shout, and to rain only when needed. In time, the town and the storm became friends. Children danced in the rain, farmers welcomed gentle showers, and the thunder became a lullaby rather than a warning. Lila, the girl who tamed a thunderstorm, grew up to be a wise woman, known far and wide for her gift of understanding both people and nature. And the spirit of the thunderstorm? He visited often, always accompanied by a gentle breeze and a promise of friendship. Whenever Lila looked to the sky and heard the distant roll of thunder, she smiled, knowing that she and her town were safe, blessed by the wild heart of the storm. As the years passed, Lila shared her story with children everywhere, teaching them not to fear the unknown, but to listen, learn, and find the beauty in even the wildest winds. And whenever a child looked up and smiled at a storm, the spirit of the thunderstorm smiled back, remembering the brave girl who first dared to reach out her hand. Because sometimes, all it takes to tame a storm is a little bit of courage, a lot of kindness, and the willingness to listen to the world's wildest wonders. And so, the legend of Lila, the girl who tamed a thunderstorm, drifted on the wind, carried from town to town, a reminder that even the fiercest storms can become our friends if we open our hearts and listen to the music of the sky.